Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's your host, CyberDragon, otherwise known as Peter. Hope everyone has been doing well. And today we're going to go over the modulo math rule. So in gameplay, if you go to math, we have math operators, add, subtract, multiply, divide, and modulo. So we're going to see what it does and how we can use it in the game and that sort of thing. So you might learn something with that because most people don't know what modulo is or how to use it or what to use it for. So that will be today's lesson. But before I jump into that, I just want to show off some education documents. So the first thing here I want to show is lessons on beginning in the Game Maker. So how to play, like test play and do camera controls and things of that nature. There's a video to go through it all. So if you are fairly new to Game Maker, this would be a good video to start. There are some tips in there that you may not know, even if you have been using Game Maker for a while. So I'll go ahead and link this one in chat. Where is it? Is the chat? Where's the chat? Here it is. So this is a document for playtesting. And the basics of this is basically camera movement. So when you are in the Game Maker, you push down middle mouse button to move up and down, left and right. You hold spacebar and left click to rotate around objects. You can zoom in and out using a mouse scroll. I like to use the middle mouse button a lot to navigate. You can use like Q and E, A and D and W and S and things like that. But I just find the mouse, middle mouse button and left click to rotate works really well. There's also another lesson, so let me bring that one out. This one here is building with blocks, so shows you how to use the tools to build terrain quite quickly. And there are some good tips here in regards to putting down various shapes and how to replace blocks and the shortcut keys for that. So I'll go ahead and link this in chat as well, in case you want to have a look and watch the videos. And the gist of these two here, so the blocks, you put blocks in your taskbar, so you can press L to bring up your library. You can click blocks, get the basics, bring in some blocks that you want to put down, then press L or this button here to minimize the library. Click the block and then you left click and drag, or you just left click to place. You can right click to delete blocks. You can hold right click to delete a whole bunch. Then you can hold left click, put down as many as you want, but before you let go, you can hold shift and build upwards. So if you want to build towers or walls really quickly, it's really useful. And again, you can right click and drag down, and now we've got like a whole section that might have taken a while to build if you didn't know these shortcuts. So it allows you to bring walls into the game quite quickly and start building all that good stuff. So do check out those documents. It will be 2 lessons every week, and it will go from basics to advanced, and it will help you with your Game Maker creations. Hope everyone's doing well. Toxic Toad, welcome to the chat. If you are on YouTube, I don't get to see that chat here in OBS, but I'll quickly have a look to see if there's any comments. Yep, hi. So we got a GIF, AK. How are you going? So yeah, today we're going to learn about modulo. So what is modulo? Modulo is a math rule which pretty much gets the remainder of something. Now, what do you mean by remainder of something? Well, let's do some basic math. We'll bring up our paint. So if you want to do something like 12, ooh, that's no good. So let's say we got 12 and we want to divide that by 5. So basically, how many times does 5 go into 12? Well, the answer is 2, but there is also 2 remainder, right? So this number here is our modulo. So if we can't get a whole division, there'll be numbers left over, and that is our modulo. Let's bring that into Game Maker so we can see it in action. So the first thing we want to do is bring up a HUD. So we're going to go rules, events, on player join. So when a player joins an experience, it will send out this message instantly. And we're going to send a message HUD. And we're going to bring up a game screen, and we're going to bring up a HUD. And we're going to use the message HUD to bring up the game screen. Now this will display UI on the screen, which is good for showing statistics and numbers and things like that to the player. So the first thing we're going to do is add some variables. So we're going to have a number. It can be global or local. Everyone sees global, only the local player sees the local. Doesn't matter in this case. And we're going to say math operation 1. And we're going to create another one. And it's going to be the same thing, but we're going to call this math operation 2. And then we can do another one and we'll say it equals. Something like that, right? Okay, basically math operation is somewhere we're going to place our variable, and this one's going to be something we place our variable, and it equals is the result. So basically this one here is math operation 1, this one here is math operation 2, and that one is our result, our equals. So they're the 3 slots that we have for that, and we can go ahead and say math op 1, and we'll display the next one, which will be math op 2. And then we have this one here, which will be equals. And we'll probably, we'll do one more. And this one here will be the modulo. And this one here will show the remainder. Modulo. Cool. And we'll just rename this to HUD so we know what this set of rules are. And we'll just move this down a little. So when you go to the rules hierarchy, you can see HUD, and then you can click this to target it, and it'll take you straight there. If you don't rename them, they'll all say new rule set, and you'll have to scroll through your rules to look for the thing you're looking for specifically. So it's always good to rename them up here so you can target them and go straight to what you want without needing to look for it in the blueprint. Awesome. Let me put that in multiplayer mode and save, and then we'll do a quick test to see if those HUDs do display. Hey last year, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Okay, so we're going to press tab, and this will bring us into a playtest. And you can see on the left, we have math op 1, math op 2, equals, and modulo. So what we're going to do is try to replicate this math equation. So 12, 5, divided by 2, 2 remainder. So we can cheat by taking the variable. Instead of having 0, we can just go ahead and put the values we want it to start off with. So if we say 12 and 5, and now we press tab, you will see on the left, we got 12 and 5. Because that's the way we want our math operation here to display. Hey Ank, how's it going? Welcome back. Now we want to do a math equation to get the equals, right? All right, so let's put down a panel, just something that we can press E on to execute something. And what we'll do here is put a message broadcaster. The message broadcaster will wait for a message, and the message it needs to wait for is interact. So when a player presses E, it's going to interact with this message broadcaster. We want to send a message broadcast type to the rules, so it doesn't go anywhere else on the map except for the rules. And we can say do math as our message. So when the player presses E on his panel, it will send a message to the rules system to do math. Now we're going to go to our math rule here. We're going to send a message do math to that one. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the variable, and the variable will be the first math operation, the one with 12 in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide, and we're going to do the next variable, which will be math operation 2. And we want it to equals in the equals variable. And let's go ahead and see what happens now when we press E on this panel. So you can see 12, 5 equals 0, modulo 0. When we press E, you can see that it equals 2. And that is correct, but it doesn't show the remainder. So the remainder here is 2 because 5 times 2 equals 10. But we started with the number 12. So how do we display that 2? It's a good question. Now, I haven't actually done this before, so we're going to have to like tweak it a little bit, make sure it works as intended. So we could probably do, let's see what happens if we do modulo here. So instead of divide, we do modulo. All right, we've got 12, 5 equals 0. Now if we press E, you can see it is now displaying 2 as well, because that's the remainder. Now, if we go ahead and change the variable to 13, the remainder should be 3. So let's see if we press E, if the equals will display 3. And it does. So you can see it's not showing the end result. It's just showing the modulo. So what we can do in this case is we'll change this back to 2. And what we can do here is duplicate this one. And we'll have one as a divide and one as a modulo. And what we can do here is we'll change it so the math operation is a 3, a 13. So it should show equals 2 and modulo 3. So the equals is the full number with division, and the modulo is the modulo. And that's where it sits in the variables. Let's go ahead and see if this works. Okay, so now when we press E, you can see that the first one is 3, which is incorrect, and the modulo is 3, which is correct. So we're kind of missing something here because 5 does not go into 13 that many times. So let's see what we're doing wrong. So if we go ahead and delete this one, so there is no modulo, will it now display 3? It does. So as soon as I add modulo in there, it's changed it to a 2. So we probably need to do a carry on from here. So we can say check modulo. Now we can do another math rule, which is says check modulo. And basically we can say 13 modulo 5, and we're going to put that into modulo. And then we can make that none. Now let's see if this works. It may not work and then I'll be stumped, but that's okay. We can work it out. So the first one is 3 when it should be 2. So I don't know why it's changed from 3 to 2. We do have the equals, we have the modulo, and we have the operation of 1 and 2. to result in modulo. So when we delete this again, it should show 2 instead of 3. Ah, it displays 3. Interesting. So I'm already stumped, which is great, because trying to teach this one is not easy. And trying to get the right math formula is not easy either. So if we get the variable 13 divided by 5, 13 divided by 5 equals, and then it should be 2. Let me just quickly check. What is 13 divide by 5? Is 2.6. So maybe it is displaying upwards. So it is, how would you call it? Rounding up. Because it's 2.6, it's going up to 3, which is kind of strange. It shouldn't be doing that. Or maybe it should be doing that. I don't really know. So if we go ahead and change this to, say, 1. So we've got now 11 divided by 5. It should be 2. It is. Okay. And now when we duplicate this one and we do a modulo, and we say here, check modulo, and we won't send a message once it's done, and we'll display the modulo. It should be 2 and then 1. And then that means that the equals, so now it's working as intended. It just means the equals, if it's over 0.5 of a decimal, it's rounding up to the nearest number of 3. Which is not cool when you're trying to do a modulo, but that is okay. We can get around that. But that gives you an idea of what modulo does. It shows the remainder of something. But when we divide it by something and it equals over 0.5, it looks like it rounds up to the higher number, which can be an issue when you're trying to do something specific. But that's okay. This is just to give you a quick idea. So what can we do with this now? What sort of formulas or gameplay can we use this for? Let's go into that one and see if we can make it work. Give me 1 second. Okay. Cool. Let's do a few variables now. Here we're going to do, we'll just keep math operation, and we'll make this one 0. And we can make this one 0 as well. And we can change the number thing to say days. And then we can have hours. And then we can have minutes. Something like that. And then we can have total time. Awesome. Now what we could do here is we can have a map to add 1, and we can add 1 to the variable total time, add 1 to equal total time. And now we can get a message broadcaster. So we're going to press L, bring out a numpad, drag that out. And here we're going to add a message broadcaster. We're not going to wait for message. We're just going to, it's going to run straight away as soon as the game begins. And what we're going to do is send a message, add 1, and that's going to go to the rules. And we want this to broadcast forever, not just once. And we want the delay to be 1 second. Next, we're going to display that on the HUD. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of these that we were displaying for now. And we'll go ahead and change this one to total time. Just so you can see what's going on here. And now when I press tab, you can see every second it is adding 1 to my total time. Cool, pretty easy. Good for resource management games and all sorts of things like that. But in this example, we are tracking time. So now we're going to use math to put that into a time event. But maybe we want to test and add extra time. So add 1 is always going to add 1. But it's good to use message arguments. So what we can do is we can say add time, and then we can add an argument. And that argument here will be a number. And we'll just call that add time and click create. And instead of adding 1, we're going to add the message argument. And the message argument will be whatever the value is in add time. And we haven't added anything yet, but what we can do here is instead of sending add 1, we can do add time, and add time is going to add 1 every second. So we've done the exact same thing, but now we have a message that we can use multiple places to add different amounts of time. So if we go ahead and press tab, you can see it's still adding 1 per second. So we haven't done anything different except change the message to a message argument and change that in the rule itself. So add time is going to add whatever is in the message argument that sent that message. And what's sending this message is a message broadcaster every second with a value of 1. Which means now we can send a message here, add time, from this panel where we press E, and we can say add 200. So it's going to go up 1 per second because of the message broadcaster. And we can also press E on this panel and it's going to add 200. And we can spam E and it's going to add 200 each time. And we're using just one message and one rule to do it. If we had the old logic, it means that you need a math rule for each variable that you wanted to have, or each fixed value that you wanted. So we had 1 for 1 second, and then you'll need another one if you want to add 5 seconds from something. But with the message argument, you don't need to do that, which saves on rules and messages. Hey Panda, hey Wicked, how's it going? Thanks for joining. All right, so now we have a math rule, and we can say do math. So we can go ahead and do math now. That message is not going anywhere yet. And next we're going to say, we're going to display the message days, and we're going to have days. Then we're going to have the message hours, and we're going to have hours. And then we'll have another one that says minutes, and we're going to have minutes. And we can go ahead and not show the total time. And we can show minutes each time this thing goes up by 1. Can we add more zeros at the counter? No, so you can't do a time where you show that time function in the one variable. That would be quite useful, but we can't change, I don't think so anyway. I haven't seen anything that breaks up those formats in the rule system, but it would definitely be cool to have that in the future, that's for sure. Maybe we could. I've never actually tried, but now I'm thinking about it. Maybe we could do set time value. Let's check out the set time value. Let's play around with it, see what we can do. So we've got time, we'll just say time. We got formatting, and keep whatever formatting we want. And set time value will be set, maybe set time. And we should be using a message argument. So we'll do this as a side quest and see if this one actually works too. So I haven't really played around with this. I've used Modulo for a different purpose. The purpose I used it for is quite complicated, but I haven't done something as basic as time. So we'll play around with that and see if we can get that working too. And we'll use message argument as well. Would message argument work? Because we can't really define message argument. Maybe we could do variable and total time. Would that be something? I don't know. Let's see what happens when we do this. So we should see days, hours, minutes. I haven't put time up there. We need to see the time. And we'll add time. Time. All we need is time. I'll save. And we'll check it out. Because if it works, then that's even better, because then we save on 3 variables. So days, hours, minutes, and then time. And we don't have anything adding to time yet, because we removed the total time variable. So if we say do math, we can now say math. That's not how you spell math. Cool. And we can have variable of, say, total time. And we're going to add it to the variable time. And that will equal time. Would that work? We probably won't need this if it works. So it looks like we can't add to time doing this, but we could probably set, if we say set time, we're using a message argument, which is probably maybe okay, but the variable set time value of total time to time. Let's see if this actually works. I have no idea. Sounds logical though. Nope. Let's display total time as well, just so we can see if things are ticking. So we can see things are ticking, but we can't really add that value of total time to time by the looks of it, even with the set. So the set time is the variable of total time. So we can't really set time value based on a math formula, or this thing here is overriding it. So if we go ahead and see if that 2 makes a difference. No, it does not. That would be cool if it did work last year. That'd be really good. So we go total time, add time equals time. But time is a time and we're using a number. So it's kind of not really working. And this one here is relying on a variable, number variable, rather than a time variable. And it says set time value. Can we really set a time value from... Yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to do that. So add time, total time, do math. And then we say total time, add time equals time. Then we do another math rule that sets the time variable to the value of total time. but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. So we've got no conversion. What else is there? So we've got start timer, stopwatch, which goes up. And I don't know if stopwatch, you can add time to a stopwatch. I don't know if that works the same. And then we have pause time. So let's see what stopwatch will do. And if we say set time, and we say the variable time is the message to stop, maybe. No, let's see what happens here. So it looks like that doesn't work either. Oh, it kind of is adding something. Maybe it's conflicting with this. And maybe we'll just say set and set. And a message to stop. We don't need to do that. And it keeps going back to 0. So it's displaying, and then it's going back to 0. So something is ticking. Something is definitely happening. But I think this map rule is probably ruining it. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that and just go to set and see if that actually makes a difference. So it doesn't look like we can, because I guess set is starting it, and each time the message is sent, it is resetting the stopwatch, even though we don't have a message here to stop it. So one way we could check that out is have this message only trigger once, and let's see what happens now. So our time is ticking up faster than expected, not once per second. And I don't know why that's happening, because we have here rule to trigger once, add time, then it adds time, then it does set to set the time variable. But this one is ticking up faster and faster and faster. So I don't even know why that's happening, because it should only be triggering once. Okay, if we say need to wait for a message, we'll just say GG. Now it shouldn't be going up at all, right? If we press E here. Okay, so we've started the stopwatch now, and if we press E again, yeah, so each time it receives the message, the stopwatch goes back to 0 and starts again. So that one explains what the stopwatch behavior does. So we can't really add more time to an existing stopwatch. So we can't give that time illusion of days, hours, minutes, or seconds using that one variable. We can't add 200 to it or whatever value we want, because it just goes back to 0. It would be nice if that did work. Might be a feature request I'll ask for. It will save having 3 variables displayed separately for days, hours, and minutes, and so forth. But yeah, I was confused with this too. I don't know why this is ticking so quickly. Wait before broadcast once, but I guess it's just ticking every frame. I don't know what's going on here. If we do it just once, then that would work only once. But it looks like you need to have that ticked. And now we got time. But then again, we can't add to it. So it kind of gets rid of that whole idea of using a time variable to display time, which is pretty funny that we can't use a time variable to display time. We got set time value. So that's another thing we could do. So we'll get rid of the stopwatch and we'll play around with this one and see if anything here works. And a value of it would be the variable of total time. I don't know if this will work, but let's try it out. So you can see it doesn't work here because you can't set time based on a value of a variable, like a number. So numbers don't convert into time, unfortunately. Maybe, nah, I don't think we can do it. Because we're trying to use a variable total time to display time, and it's not set in. So that doesn't convert. If you want to display total time in seconds, you need to convert time to number, then display it using math. Can you do it the other way around, Xero? Can you, because we can't convert number into time, you're saying you can convert time into numbers? Does that actually work? It won't help in this case because it will just give me the same result of needing 3 variables to display days, hours, and minutes. We're trying to bypass that with last year's suggestion on can we just use the time variable to display the format in the one variable rather than having 3 variables that are showing the days, hours, and minutes separately. Because we have total time and we're adding that to we're adding time to total time, which is a number, and then we're doing a set and we're trying to take that total time number and set it as a time variable, but that doesn't work. Which is strange because when we set a time, we can use a fixed number, right? So if we say fixed value of 5, and then that math rule goes, let me press E on here. No, we can't even set that. So what's this set value do? If we can't set it, maybe does it need to be a separate message? It can't actually go through the rules, through the math rule. Let's have a look. So if we press E directly on this, it's not even setting the time to 5. Have I made a mistake somewhere? So we've got time. This one here is showing time as well. So we are showing the right variable, which is time. We're setting time value, and the time value should be 5. Maybe we need to start timer. So maybe it's this one that needs to be done. Maybe it needs to be done this way. So set time, and the duration will be the variable of total time. But that means it will tick straight away, right? We'll delete this. And let's see what happens here. So we probably need a start timer. So we go ahead and press E. Okay, but now that's ticking down, not ticking up. So that doesn't quite work the way we want. And we can just press E and it resets it. But it's going the opposite direction. We want it to count upwards instead of down. And I don't think stopwatch. So we've got start time value, stopwatch. So we tried stopwatch already, but we can't set stopwatch value. So every time it receives the message, it starts from 0 again. We got start time, but then we have set time value. So start timer works, but then what's the set time value used for? What's the difference here? We can't really set something once it's in motion for stopwatch, right? So if we go time and we say set, and that will display time, we can go ahead and delete that one. If we say set and we set time to the beta value of 50, let's see what happens here. All right, if we press E, it's giving us the value of 50. Okay, so it doesn't always have to hit 0. Okay, that's good. We're onto something here. Instead of using the value, we can use the variable total time. Let's see if this one works. So we add 200. Hey, I think we got something now. So we compress 200. Okay, we do have something. We finally worked it out. Yay. So let's spam this. Yep. So it does do the formatting, but it needs the seconds, right? So it has to have seconds, then it has minutes, then it has hours. That's good. Let's change this to 20,000 and see what happens. So we kind of got it now. So the hours don't turn into days. So we can't really display days inside the time, but we have seconds, minutes, and hours. Maybe that's when we can have days as a separate variable. So we can get rid of hours and minutes and have days and reset the time back to 0 once it hits 24 hours. So we've got minutes, seconds, minutes, and hours. So that's 116 hours, 40 minutes, 30 seconds. You can see the total time at the top. So we got it. And a way to do it is to have the math rule. We need to set the time value, and we set the time variable to the variable of our total time. So the total time here is number. And the stopwatch will use the same message to display the time. And that would start ticking up each second because of the stopwatch function. But if we go ahead and delete this one here and just have the other one instead, let's see what happens. So if we press E, nope. So it definitely needs the other one here, which is stopwatch. And now we set the variable for time, and we can stop it, but we don't want to stop it. This is going to keep adding 1 each time this ticks up. It's going to add it here, and this one here is broadcasting forever, and the forever is 1, and that should now wait, we had only once ticked. We need to make sure we remove that. And now we have so it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work that way? So we kind of ruined it, but we had it working and then we ruined it. All right, so let me go ahead and put that back to only once. And then click set. Ah, what do I do different? Message required. It's going to do the time. Then we're going to set time to total time. Isn't this what I just had when it was working? And now I'm confused. Broadcast only once. We're just going to do it once. Now it's going back to 0. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Because it was like this, wasn't it? I need to go back in my stream and see what I did different. So if I had total time, add time equals total, we set the stopwatch is set, the time variable is time, but here we set the time. So if we switch, I don't know if this is going to make a difference, but we switch it around that way. Maybe it executes left to right, up to down. Okay, we press E. Anybody know what the difference there was? Because I'm confused. It's the same, right? Yeah, you got the screenshot, it's the same. I thought it was the same too. But now it's behaving differently. We had it working. We had it working. Let me save. Very interesting. Now I can't have a logical explanation because I'm using the exact same thing when it was working and now it's not working. The total time, it should be the value of time. We are setting the time value and stopwatch should be going. We don't have a message to stop it. So it should just be working. I'm not going crazy, am I, guys? It was working. And I don't think I changed anything dramatically. All right, let's press E. My gosh. All right, no logical explanation for that one. Okay, but it is working now. All right, let's press tab again, see if it gives us another surprise. I have made no changes. I just tabbed in and out. Okay. That's all good. I changed this though. I changed the message to stop from none to XXX or just something random that I won't use anywhere else. So now when I press E, if it makes me feel like I'm going nuts sometimes because it literally acted in 2 different formats with the same logic and confirmed by chat. Game Maker magic, yes indeed. Gosh. All right. Well, we have we have something. So let's work with what we've got. All right. So now we have 2 variables, one for day and one for time. We can add time. Total time, we can break up the total time to see what the day's amount could be. So if we go up to 24 hours, you can see here now, this is 27 hours, and we still have 0 days. So let's see if we can use the modulo to break up that time and make them into days, and then, if possible, set the time. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know. Let's play around with it. So we've got set. And what we can do here is we'll do another math. And we'll check modulo. Check modulo. Alrighty. Okay, so if we want days, what we can do here is we can check the days variable. So variable, we're going to go total time. And what we'll do is we're going to divide it by, I said, now I can't select any other one. All right, it could be just a Game Maker magic thing. Might need a reset. Might need something because I can't display or select the other rule. So we could definitely got some sort of bug happening. We'll just tab in and out and see if that refreshes my ability to set formulas. Okay. Well, we did remove the math rule, so that's fine. We can have set here. We can have modulo. Hello. No. All right. Oh. Okay, it worked, but it didn't work in here. Very strange. Okay. Again, more Game Maker magic. So we're going to take the total time and we're going to, I didn't need to delete the rule. I just needed to bring it out from the group. So putting it in the group makes it unclickable. Taking it out of the group makes it never mind. I will I take back my statement. But I think we have a proper math formula now. So what we want to do is total time. And we want to divide it by, first of all. All right, let's just delete it. Wah. Wah. And that was deleting and re-adding, so that didn't quite work either. So I'm gonna save, leave the experience, come back in and see if that makes a difference. So we definitely have unpredictability in the behavior of Game Maker at the moment, which is not cool, but we'll work with it. Yeah, might need a reset Game Maker. I just thought if we leave the experience to come back, we'll save the need for resetting. But we will see now. Okay. Now it wants to be fine, so that's good. We'll take total time. All right, and we're going to divide by the value of, I think it's 86,400 to give us days. And then we can say set. And now let's see what this does. So we've got time, we're going to add, we don't have time ticking up though. We need total time to be ticking up. But if we go ahead, I guess I need to ask, how many seconds in a day? Yeah, 86,400. Okay. So if we have 86,400, it shouldn't give us the value of 1. Until it hits 86,000. But it's got 60,000. Ah, that's because of the rounding up. So because it went over 0.5, it rounds up to 1. That should not be happening. I don't know why the Game Maker rule system is doing that, because that's technically incorrect. So that's something else I need to report. This has been a fun experience so far, hasn't it? Good times. So we've got a few Game Maker magic things to report to the rules team, because we aren't getting the desired results. I don't want to see the value 1 until we actually have a whole division. All that should be 0, in my opinion. Because now, why is it showing 1 when we haven't even hit 24 hours? Is just beyond me. So Modulo is not going to be useful in this one, I don't believe. Because the division here isn't working as intended, or as expected. It maybe is working as intended according to the rules team, but it's not useful to us as game makers going this way. Hi Nickety, how's it going? Is the pool out of funds? I want to withdraw my sands. Best to open up a ticket in Discord for someone to help you there. That is definitely not my area. And we definitely haven't ran out of sand. If you've gone to the beach lately, there is endless sand. So if you need some, go there. But if you need the cryptocurrency, open up a ticket in Discord, because that's the only advice I can give. Hope that helps. Alrighty, so division is broken. So what's another way we could display time? Well, maybe we can do a comparison. So if we delete this one and say we compare numbers, then we can say check modulo, and we're going to check total time. And if it is equal than or greater than what we say it was, 86,400. Okay, 86,400. We're going to add 1 day. And then we can have a map rule where we will say add 1 day. And we're going to take the variable days and we're going to add 1 to equal days. And then we can say set to carry on that. So now, if we test that out, still, it's not what I want to do in today's lesson, but you know, got to work with what we got. If we push until we have 86,000, we got 80. Aha. Now we have 1 day. We got the correct time at the bottom. But we got the 1 day now. So if we go ahead and keep pressing E, it's not going to be a working formula here, because that's not going to work. But what we can do is, we'll just put this underneath, that when it adds 1 day, we also want to take the variable total time, and we're going to subtract 86,400. So when it adds 1 day, it's going to remove that from the total time, so that way it comes back down. And we can also check modulo here and check modulo here. We got add time. So if we go ahead and add time, we'll make this one duration forever. Let's see how this one works out. Okay, we got time happening now, and we can add 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, and now ready. Boop. Now we got 1 day, and you can see now our time is gone back to where it's meant to be, and now we got 2 days. And you can see we can cycle through and get the days we want. The total time gets subtracted. So this formula does work, and you can see the time is going every second. We can see now seconds, minutes, and hours. And all we do now is we can hide the total time, because that's just for testing purposes to see how things are reacting. And now we have a function where we can see seconds, minutes, and hours, and days, and it will formulate when it goes over 24 hours, and it subtracts once it hits 24 hours to show that we've got 3 hours, 47 minutes, 2 seconds, and how many days. So we got a workaround. It's not using modulo, it's not using division. They're the way I wanted to work with time, because that way we could we wouldn't have to subtract from the total time 86,400 after adding the day, because it could use division and modulo and still keep that number going up and up and up. But this is the workaround we have to use in regards to the weakness of division and modulo. Cool. Maybe we can do events now. So what we can do here is we have set. So here we can have check day. And when it adds one, we can check day. So we go to a comparison and we're going to check day. And we can check to see if days is equal to 1. And we can say trigger day 1 event. And you can go ahead and duplicate it and do 2. And again, trigger event day and then 2. I like to put the thing that needs to change right at the end of the message. So that way you just delete the end and just change the number. And you can go 3, paste, delete 3. And you can go 4, paste, delete 4. And what this allows you to do is have different events and things trigger based on the day. So we can go ahead and duplicate this, so Control D, and we'll have here a speaker, which is a component, not a behavior. And we can say trigger event day 1, and we'll trigger the message with day 1. And then we can duplicate, and we'll make this one day 2, duplicate. This one will be 3 and 3, and duplicate 4 and 4. So basically each time a day passes, we can send a message out to say, oh, it's day 1. And you can have things spawn, enemies spawn, events happen, like it turns into nighttime, or it could be a storm that's happening. And then when it's day 2, you have a separate message to trigger for day 2. And as time goes on, you can do day 3 and you can do day 4. And I'll give you an example. So we can duplicate this one. And for this, we can say have a weather. So weather switcher. With weather switcher, we can have day 1 event. We can say make it night, or we could have a custom thing where everything will look reddish. We can play to see what that looks like, and we can change the I guess the skybox to be a different color. Something like that, right? Probably the bottom is too bright. Let's do something a bit darker. Yeah, like that. So when we go ahead and check it out, when day 1 happens, well, that didn't work. Let me quickly check to see what's going on. Wait for message. The message here, we probably need to drag this out. So it's trigger event day 1. I think the weather switcher may need a player interaction because it is a multiplayer. If I change that to single player game, then it should work. There you go. So on day one, something like this can occur, and then you can spawn enemies. But if you want it to work for multiplayer experiences, in 0.10, yeah, you could probably bring out a spawn and a volume trigger. That might work. Last year says, can we send more messages from the day logic to switch day, night, sunset, morning? I mean, at certain hour of the day. Yep, exactly fine with that one too. So this one here we got for daytime, and we're tracking days, and we're doing a division for that. I don't think compare time works, so there's another downside to using that time function. But if we use the total time, so we can do duplicate, we'll bring this out, and we can go ahead. So each second it's going to do total time, and we could divide it by is it divided by, let me have a look. Total time, yeah. So what we'll do here in this case is we'll do math, and we'll do check modulo, and we're going to take variable total time, and we're going to divide it by well, let me go ahead and say how many seconds in an hour, and that is 3,600. So we're going to divide it by 3,600. Again, the division's not very good because it rounds up, I think. So you're not going to get a good result for that, I think. What we could do, instead of using division, we can compare, and if total time is equal to 3,600, this one is hour 1, right? So if you wanted to send a message on hour 1, that's the way to do it, and that will always work. So if you want to do a calculator, we'll bring this over here. So if you want something to happen at midday, which is 12 hours in, 3,600 times 12 for 12 hours. So 43,200. So we go 43,200. And you don't want equals to, because it needs to be exactly that number for it to work. Which is fine if it's ticking per second, because it will hit that number and there's no issues. But if you're using a message where you're just adding values, like I have been, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, it's going to skip that number. And if you do greater than or equals to, each time you send that message is going to trigger every time. So there's a few weaknesses there. You will, if you're trying to add time, but if you let it tick every second, then this will work each time. And this will be like hour 12. And then hour 12, we can go ahead and put that number exactly here. We'll do it a little bit less, so that way we can wait 10 seconds to see it work. And what we can do here is we can change this to hour 12. Now let's see if this, actually I got a multiplayer. I'll make it single player. So I'll go ahead and push that, and you can see we're not on the 12th hour yet, but it's about to be in 3 seconds. And then when it hits 12 hours, boom, I have a message that sets the time. So that is a way to do that. But That is trying to do it your way, your suggestion, with adding a time variable rather than having individual slots for the seconds, minutes, and hours, which will work better. So let me just hop out of this and I'll show you a template that I made. Should be here somewhere. Let's load up the templates section and we can have a look at one of the templates I made, which displays time. So we can go, what was it? It was resource management? No? All right, let's check categories. Gaming. We'll load it up. Yeah, so if you could add a variable to count the hours, but then there's no point because it's the method of trying to put the time there is probably to save variable slots. I mean, if it's just for visual display, then yes, that will definitely work. And that's exactly what I got in this template here. So resource management template, we'll just put in a random name, click create. So this is free to use. You can open it up and edit it any way you like. It's one of my favorite templates I've made because the game works really well. The logic is pretty cool, and there's a lot to learn in it, which can be applied to all sorts of games. And in this one here, when we click survive 10 days, it talks about what to do. And you can see we have days and hour on the left. And as time goes on, it adds hour. And you can, I think every 6 seconds it adds an hour, or every 10 seconds, something like that. And then you can send a message based on the hour. Once it hits 12, it turns to night. And then everything here can be switched over. So once it hits the 12 hour, I'll show this one here so you can see. And each one you put down will generate resources. And at the bottom, you can see my resources are ticking up. And you can get advanced buildings, which will give you more resources and things like that. So this one here is a stone factory. Now I can build stone. Well, it's giving me a passive stone increase. I don't have enough gold to buy another one. I do now. So now you can see on the left, it's going to hit the 12th hour. And now things are getting dark. And now enemies will come out and start attacking my base. So you can trigger events. Once it's 24 hours, it turns back to daytime and kills the enemies that are left that don't survive in a day. So this is one of the templates where you can learn about the time and how to set messages. If you go into the template and click the logic floor, it will take you to the logic floor. And then you can read these to let you know what these numpads trigger in the experience. So here you can change the day and night settings along with the music that is played. Cool. Here you can change the sound of victory logic. Alrighty. Here is the enemy portal logic. Okay. Game menus. Enemy spawn rates. That sort of thing. And then you come to the game rules. And again, you've got the rules hierarchy. Click that and you can look for time cycle, right? So you can click this. It'll take you to the time cycle. Awesome. Now here we got time. So we got something that's adding 10 time every second. So I got a message broadcaster doing that, like I showed in the other experience that we'll just test in on. Then it does a check and it sees if it's greater than or equals to 60. If it is greater than 60, it's going to minus 60 and then it's going to add 1 to the hour. And when it adds 1 to the hour, we can check if there's 24 hours. And then if it is, we can minus 24 hours and add 1 to season. And then we have day triggers. So here we can check day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, like we did with that one. But we also have things that check for hours as well. So if we go to day-night weather changer here, so it's checking the hours. If it equals 23, make it daytime. If the hours equals to 12, make it nighttime. So we do have our separate variables for hours and days to trigger things during particular hours and different things on particular days. And the days is used here to increase the rate of enemy spawns to make things progressively harder as the days go on. But I do recommend checking out this template because it has a lot of interesting logic here for enemy RNGs, and particularly the resource shop function. So you can send a message resources to add either of these resources, and then you can spend those resources. You can set the resource costs and then start minusing the resources. There is a workshop I've done that goes through this template more thoroughly if you are interested into knowing in learning how all these functions work. And the game works really well. You can spam the buildings everywhere. It doesn't lag, it doesn't crash. So yeah, do check that out. So I'm going to report a few things about the Modulo and Division to the rules team after today's experiment. See if we can change something in 0.11 or 12 to make it more user-friendly and work more as intended. But yeah, I think that's all for today. So if you've got any questions, now is the time to ask before I skedaddle into the night. Again, if you have any questions, I'm on Discord. I always answer. So if you do have anything that you want to ask after the stream, just send me a message. More than happy to help. Last question? Yep, go for it. And again, if you didn't see at the start of the stream, we do have documentation now, which will go through basics of Game Maker and gradually get more advanced. So do check out our documents. They're being updated by Becky, who works really hard in getting all of this looking good and flowing well. So you can learn all the things from A to Z quite easily. So do check that out. I'll send a link again inside of chat. Here you go. All right, so I'm working on a multiplayer maps. Is there a way to allow only one team to use buttons? Yep. So I showed that in an early stream back in the day. So let's go to YouTube's, good old YouTube's. Let's go to Sandbox channel. Let's go to, I think live might be here somewhere. Might be one of the first ones I did. Or was it on my channel? Could have been on my channel. Let me have a look. View your channel. Live. Yeah, so it's in this one here. So in this one here, I show how to make wands, and you can make each individual person shoot their own wand. And what that allowed is all of us to pick up a wand, push a button on the keyboard, and it will only shoot for the one that you're holding. So that way, that's exactly the same thing. So if you want buttons like 0 to 4 and red team to push 5 to 10, this will show you exactly how to set a variable to an individual player, and then you do a comparison when a button is pushed. So you push something like 1, 2, 3, or 4. It does a comparison to check your number, and if you are that particular number, it will work for you. I'll go ahead and link this in the chat for you. Exact same thing, because here it's using clicks and it's using the same method. But if the video is not clear or you have more questions after it's done, send me a message and I'll clarify for you even further. Join my Discord channel too, because we do discuss a lot on my Discord, and a lot of people do get help there as they need it. So make sure you're there if you do want some help from the experts, because a lot of people in my channel are very advanced builders. They've won a lot of game jams and they know what they're talking about. So you can get help not just from me, but from other people as well. Have you a DS? What's a DS? Discord server? Yeah, that's what I mean. Discord server. Like, I guess I can share it. Give me a moment. Invite. Copy. And paste. That should work. Let me know. I have to update my server. I'll approve you when I see you join, so you can see all the channels. But I'll be working on that to make it a bit more user-friendly, because I never really learned how to use Discord properly, setting up servers. I thought I did something correctly, but it's just confusing. All right. I see you. I'll go ahead and give you the role. Sandbox. Perfect. So you should be able to see the Sandbox chat and the category there. And I have a resources and tutorials part. So if you want to get a boost, like I have stairs that you could use in VoxEdit that are there as a template, so you don't have to create it yourself and things of that nature. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, message me. But otherwise, have a great day. All the best. Bye-bye.